Third, we got to do more on education. We're here in a school. I think I owe the kids an apology, because if it weren't me here tonight, it would have been Ratatouille. And I really, when we had to change it because of my trip back to DC, I really appreciate all of the students being so understanding. And Claudia has promised that Ratatouille will be here soon. But when I think about education, and I think about all of the incredible schools that we have across our country, I'm very proud of the American education system. I know there are people who like to, be negative about it and, kind of badmouth it. That's not how I see it. I see that the American public school system is one of the cornerstones of our democracy. If we didn't have a strong public school system, we would not have had as strong a country as we've had for the last years. But like any system, we have to be constantly asking ourselves, what can we do better? How can we improve? That's what you're supposed to do, particularly when it comes to education. Well, here's some things I think we need to do. I think we have to better prepare kids before they ever walk in the door to go to kindergarten here at Fernley. You'll have like half your vocabulary by the age of 5. And a lot of people don't know that. So it's important that we do more to reach out to families to help them be their child's first teacher. Every one of you who's ever read to a child, you're not only kind of spending some time with that youngster, you are literally creating brain cell connections. And I've been doing this work for 35 years. And I remember when I used to go around talking with young mothers about the importance of interacting with their babies and convincing young fathers to spend a little time, maybe reading or telling a story or just talking to their kid, like read the sports page while, your baby's sitting in the chair. People would say, well, but they can't talk back, because we didn't know as much as we know now. So anything we can do to reach out and help families understand that they can actually prepare their child for school is important. Then I think we do need a pre-kindergarten program for 4-year-olds so that they can have a better chance to get prepared for school. And we have to end the unfunded mandate known as No Child Left Behind. And we've got to make college affordable for the students who are middle class and hardworking families. College used to be a lot more affordable. It was cheaper. And you had more help. And that's all been changed in the last 30 years. So it's much harder for a middle-class family today to send a child to college than it was then. That's wrong. And it's something we're going to change. And finally, I think we've got to do more to focus resources on the young people who don't go to college. 60%. If you take a graduating class of any high school across America, on average, 60% will not go to and graduate from college. But these are the young men and women who serve in our military, who build buildings like the one we're in, who do the hard work of keeping the economy going, and I don't think we're paying them enough attention. So I want more resources for community colleges and job training and apprenticeship programs. If we tackle these issues, we will create more good jobs, because that is the key to a middle-class lifestyle. If you don't have a good job, that's not going to, you're not going to have that passport to opportunity in the American dream. So I want to do that through energy, I want to do that through education, and I want to do that by getting the burden of healthcare costs off of business. So I think there's a lot that will begin to jumpstart the economy again. And we got to reform the government, especially after Bush and Cheney, because there's been too much cronyism, too many no-bid contracts, too much of the problems of competence. And I'm going to start with this old-fashioned idea of actually appointing qualified people to do the job that we ask them to do. know, finally for me, it's about reclaiming the future for our children. I mean, that's what motivates me every single day. I'm looking at these young students who are sitting here. I see some young Girl Scouts here, and I see this little baby there. And, you know, I have to tell you that I think that we've got to keep faith with previous generations. That is what was kept faith with us. We've got to keep faith going forward. And I don't want our children entering a more dangerous, unstable world. I don't want to see the average middle-class lifestyle diminish and erode. People are already working as hard as they can. Nobody works harder than American workers. Don't let anybody tell you differently. We are the most productive, hardest working people. And it's not right that people are working hard and feeling like they're not getting ahead. Because that is contrary to the way America is supposed to work. So when I think about reclaiming the future for our children, I know there's no more important task, because that's how we will be judged, what we leave behind. And I also have to tell you, I am thrilled and excited about the possibility of being the first woman president. It's overwhelming, but it's very exciting. And what I want to do is inspire our children, our daughters, and our sons, because this should be the country that you can be anything you want to be if you're willing to work for it. That is who we are as Americans. And there is no problem that we have in America that can't be solved by what's right with America, and by us acting like Americans again. And so for me, this is all about what we're going to do together. It's not about me, it's about us. I want to bring that sense that we are all in this together back to the White House. I want you to know that every single day you'll have a president who gets up worried about you and your children, who gets up concerned about, are we making progress toward energy independence? Are we taking care of health care? Are we providing the tools that our teachers, our principals, and our students need? That is what I pledge to you. I know how hard this job is. It is the hardest job at any time, but it's going to be especially hard after Bush and Cheney, because there's going to be so much damage to undo. But I am absolutely confident and optimistic. I don't have a doubt in my mind that we're up to it. But it not only takes committed, strong leadership, it takes us acting together to reach the goals we set for America. I just want to end with this story, because as I travel around, I meet lots and lots of people. And it's always inspiring to me, because people come and tell me their stories about what they're doing. Sometimes it's an exciting story about a new business they started, maybe in alternative energy. Sometimes it's a sad story about someone who didn't have health care and is suffering and even, worried about going into bankruptcy because they can't pay their bills. But all the time, it is something that keeps me going. So the other day I was in New Hampshire, and in a few minutes after I take a couple of questions, it'll be like I was meeting people in the crowd. And as often happens to me, I met a woman in her 90s. I have met more women in their 90s in the last 11 months. They come to my events, and they say something like, I was born in, and they tell me when, and then say, I want to live long enough to see a woman in the White House. And it's very touching. Well, this woman said to me, she said, I'm 98 years old. This will probably be my last election. And I said, well, I may need you for my re-election. And she stopped for a minute and she said, well, I did have a new pacemaker put in. And the doctor said it should last for 7 years. And what struck me is that here's a woman, 98 years old, who cares enough about her country to come to an event like this because she wants to be part of helping to chart the future of America. And that's what I ask each of you to do. Be part of this process. stand up and be counted, not just for a candidate, I hope for me, but for whomever. But stand up for America. Stand up and say, you know what? It's worth an hour of my time to be part of this great country's democracy, because I know we can do better, and I want to be sure that I stood up and was counted to do so. Thank you all very much.